Hey, welcome back. This is episode number 5 of Song Production for Guitars featuring Luna, the recording system from Universal Audio. I'm Congilio, and I've been walking you through a bunch of different ways to record your guitar in Luna using amplifier plugins, the Universal Audio aux box with my real amplifier. We even recorded some acoustic guitars in episode 4. We're having a lot of fun with these tracks, and we want to talk a few more things Luna-centric as far as how to manipulate some of the WAV files we've created. And this is really pointed at the beginning user. Maybe the features of Universal Audio really appeal to you, but you don't know much about recording software. And that's what this series has been about, getting your feet wet, learning about some tools. And we're going to jump into that right now as we take a look at some of the tools that are available just with sort of the moving of a mouse. We can really manipulate our WAV file on what's called the timeline or the edit window here. First of all of these WAV files live on this gridded timeline. And the grid means that it's broken up into bars and beats, and it can be a various number of beats from quarter notes to 64th notes. And we can do that over here where it says grid, and it says grid is currently on bar. We can go to beat, and we can select our beats. And that's cool because what we can do then is make sure that as we move things around, they're not slip sliding all over the place, and we can, in the future, move audio around to kind of recreate different parts and different sections pretty accurately, and I like to do that a lot from time to time. So we're going to keep that in mind, and we're going to zoom in here on this acoustic guitar track. It's called ACL, Acoustic Guitar Left, and at the very beginning, if I go over here and hit S, S is for solo, we're just going to hear that track. And you can hear
1, 2.
There's a little guitar scratch, my count off is there, and I want to get rid of that. So I'm going to go and take my cursor down to where this little bracket is. This is my little edit tool right here, and I'm going to slide that WAV file up to where the audio is actually happening. But if you notice, it's not letting me, make a fine adjustment. It's really kind of cutting into the beginning of the track. So I'm going to hit Option Z, that's undo. You could also hit undo from the edit menu. And I'm going to hit over here snap. Now snap means that every time you move something, it's only going to move it to the grid marking that you notated. So if you wanted it to be 1/8 notes, you could see the grid just got smaller. Now my grid moves in smaller increments. Now that's pretty cool. I could take it all the way up to there, but I can also hit snap, and that's going to take the grid off, and now I can freewheel that adjustment any way I want. So I'm going to go right up to where that audio starts. Now when we hit play, it's silent until it gets to the audio. Okay, so we might want to repeat that for all of our tracks because we don't want a bunch of that noise happening when we mix down. So we want to really bring it in close. I like to zoom in, and sometimes I'll take it pretty close there. Let's adjust the other one as well. Now this tool has a multi-function tool, and if we go to the top, you can see that it has this sort of slanted angle to it. That's going to be a little bit of a fade that we can add. That's our fade tool. Now we can bring that fader tool in, and what happens is as you hit play, it won't go bam and just hit audio right away. It'll sort of gradually fade into that audio, which is really important because it's going to make for a nice entry. So we'll solo both of those tracks up. We'll play into them. Here we get. Let's do it one more time with a little bit more pre-roll for your ears. Here we go. Yeah. So we got rid of all that extra noise and anything else that was there previously. So that's kind of important for us. All right, so those are a couple tools that you should really get a handle on. We can do a number of different things on these tracks. We can change the gain, which means we can change the overall output of the track. We can raise it, or we can bring it back to where it was with our undo function there. We can change the pitch of the track. We did that in episode 1, which was really fun. But really what we want to do is just pause here and jump over to the edit window because we want to start using some plugins to actually enhance the tracks that we already have. Now, one of the things I'll tell you is I'm not a mix engineer by trade, but I do know how to use a good bit of this stuff when it comes to making my tracks for online tutorials, guitar demos, and honestly sending a lot of overdub tracks across the internet to people all over the place. So you got to know how to get good tone, and you got to know how to get some of the basics accomplished when it comes to using plugins like equalizing and compression and stuff like that. Okay, so now we have our mixer window here, and one of the things you want to consider is how to sweeten your tracks a little bit by using plugins and putting them here in what is called the insert slots. Now, what is a plugin? Real quickly, it's a digital recreation, typically of an analog piece of hardware that's used in the recording process to manipulate your sound, whether it be an equalizer or a compressor or reverb, delay, you name it. Just about anything has been recreated digitally these days to live in the box, as we say, to really enhance our experience when we're recording in the digital age. So Universal Audio does it as well as anybody. I mean, frankly, you know, I think they're the best in the business, but I may be a little biased. But we're just going to take it easy here and do a couple easy things to make your tracks kind of open up a little bit more and not be kind of as cloudy as they might be. Because when you start adding instruments, particularly guitars, that are so mid-range heavy and bass heavy, you want to clear a lot of that stuff out to let instruments like the bass guitar and drums and organ live in their respective frequencies. So there's an easy way to do that. You just click over here in the inserts. If you hit that plus sign, it's going to bring up the window over here, kind of like what we did when we chose a guitar amp. I've chosen these Oxford EQs, which I really like because they're very simple, and you can see that I haven't done a whole lot with them. Let's dive in. So I clicked on this first acoustic guitar part, and if we just listen to it, sounds okay. If I take the EQ off, a little low end came back, and I'm taking some of the low end out here with this high pass filter. And what that means is the high frequencies are getting through and certain low end frequencies are being taken out, okay? So that's as basic as I can put it, and that's important because it won't cloud the mix when it comes to adding other instruments. So if we want to take a look, here's the second acoustic. I did another similar treatment, and if I solo it up and play them together, I can turn them off. So what the EQ takes away is that that really thumpy thing that you're doing with your palm when you're palm muting this, and that really has no place in the mix unless maybe it's a solo acoustic kind of piece. So we want to get that out of there. That's what these filters help us do. It's very easy. You just take this dial and you just rotate it, if you watch the one on the left, and it starts to take away frequencies we don't need, okay? So pretty easy. Now I've done that similar treatment to all of the guitars because guitars have a lot of low-end rumble, and really you can take a lot of that stuff out and it'll really clean up your mix. So what we'll do is we'll listen to all of the guitars soloed without EQs, and then we can turn it on and turn them off. So if we hit power right here, you can see these green power lights come on. We're going to take all of those off. We can swipe to the left. That's no EQ, no filter. Let's add it back. Okay, so by itself it sounds kind of weird, but let's bring in the instruments. So you can hear that the signature lick guitar is a little cleaner. Everything else just kind of got cleaned up. Let's listen one more time. So that's something I like to do a lot of. Now I might go and continue to tweak that even more to make certain things sit in a certain spot. But another useful tool, and you get this when you get an Apollo, you get this plugin. This is a classic Universal Audio designed 1176 compressor, basically. This is one of the things Universal Audio is known for. And what this helps us do is bring what any compressor helps us do is bring the quiet sounds up and the loud sounds down. So you have this more consistent, sort of punchier, more in-your-face mix. And I like to use it on just about anything, and I used them on the same one on all of the tracks here, so we really get an idea. So let's hit the power button again. We'll hit play. Let's bring them in. To the acoustics. More punchy now, you can hear them. just kind of makes it sound a little bit more pro. You know, and that's just basic as you can get. Like I said, I'm not a mixing engineer, but I know these are some things that are really important. A high-pass filter and a compressor can really, really go a long way. All right, so that's just a quick way you can kind of clean up your guitars a little bit. I found that by doing that with these, it really helps each instrument speak on its own, and we can continue to kind of mix till our heart's content depending on how many plugins you got and how intense you want to get with really making each one sound as good as they possibly can. All right, this was episode 5 for Song Production for Guitars featuring Luna, the recording system from Universal Audio. I'm Congilio. I'll see you on the last episode, episode number 6.